Alright guys, so in the last tutorial I showed you how you can call the same function with different objects to perform different functions. Alright, so whenever you called it with the student object, it performed this particular set of instructions, and whenever you called it with the teacher object, it performed this particular set of instructions. Alright, now when I called it with the help of people object, it gave me an error, right? So let's assume you are building a big computer game, or you are building a very big directory of people, and in this you need different kinds of people. Now here are just two, student and teacher. Now maybe you need businessman, maybe you need housewives, maybe you need work person, maybe you need insurance people. Whatever it is, you need a hell lot of classes which inherit from people class and which have the same function, say age. Now you cannot remember the objects of all those people, and you cannot call the sage function every time with different objects. So would it be cool if you can just call them with the help of these people object? I mean, as I told you, you cannot use p1 in here. Alright, so wouldn't it be cool if we can use p1 in here, and it will call this function based on the name of pointer which we set it equal to, so that we just have to set it once, and now we can do everything with the help of people object, and we don't have to remember the name of the objects that we made. Alright, so we don't have to remember this s1 and t1. Alright, so I will just create the object once and forget them, and I'll just play with the help of people class. Alright, so to do that, what you need to do is you need to make a virtual function. Now what a virtual function is, whenever you inherit in many derived class from a base class and they have a same function, what you can do is you can make that function virtual in your base class. Alright, so remember, this is your base class and these are all the derived class. So you'll just make this function virtual, and then what it will do is, based on what object you call it with, it will perform different functions, and I'll just show you how to do that. Now to make any function virtual, what you need to do is you need to type the keyword virtual before the function declaration and return type. Alright, so just type the keyword virtual here, and now this function is a virtual function. Now what you can do is you can call these with the help of p1 and p2 with the same arrow member selection operator, and this one also. And now if I will run this, hopefully it will run without errors. And I should use p2 in here. Alright, let's just run this and see, it performs the same function. It says the age of student is 17 and the age of teacher is 35. So indeed we called it with the help of people object. It already knew that with the help of p1 it has to call the function in the student class, and then with the help of p2 it has to call the function in the teacher class. Why? Because we set it here. Alright, the student object to p1 and the teacher object to p2. So now you don't have to remember a whole lot of object names, you can just call them with the help of these functions. Alright, now this is not all about virtual function, but this is the basic of virtual function. Alright, and since I have a lot of time left, maybe I should teach you a pure virtual function. Now for that, before that, I need to teach you one more thing. Now suppose one of your class didn't have the definition of that function. Alright, so the sage function is virtual here, but let's say this class is not having a virtual function. Now what it will do is, I'll show you right now. Just close out of this. Alright, so now if I build run this, see, this teacher class doesn't have a ch function. Still it will run a function, and I'll tell you which one. So it says the age of student is 17 and says the age is 35. Now why is that? See, how it works is, when you call a function in the derived class, like here you call it with the help of a p2 object that is in the teacher class, it will look in that class for the function. Now it can't find a ch function in teacher class. Now what it will do is it will switch over to the default definition that is given in its base class. Right, so it will just switch to this definition, and execute this statement if any of the base class doesn't contain the sage function. If it doesn't have the definition also, let me just if it doesn't have any definition, then let's see what happens. It still runs, but it says nothing, because what happens is this class doesn't have a sage function, so it executes this one, but it has an empty definition. Alright, it doesn't have a definition, so it says nothing. Now what I need to do is, let's say you had to make a pure virtual function. Now what a pure virtual function is, this might be the easiest thing I taught you. Its pure virtual function is just you insert those two round brackets or parentheses and just set it equal to 0. Alright, so now this is a pure virtual function. Alright, and this is pretty much it, and if I run this now, it will work just fine. Alright, so this is what a pure virtual function is. You set it equal to 0 after the parentheses, and remember, you don't include those two curly braces. Alright, now one more thing I have to teach you, that is abstract class. Now this might be the easiest thing I tell you in this tutorial series. An abstract class is just a class which contains a pure virtual function. Alright, so this people class is an abstract class because it contains a pure virtual function. So I think this was pretty much it. Well, virtual function confuses a lot of people, but it's really a handy thing. You'll use it a lot in your later programming career. So just remember this, play around with it, and get good at it. Alright, so this was it for this tutorial, guys. In the next tutorial, I think I'm gonna start with the file stream. So see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.